perhaps let's step into what we'll call the manager mess, or Levy's legacy, whatever you want to call it.
Legacy, Jesus.
But yeah, I mean, to be fair, a little touch onto the Super League side of things with Levy's legacy. With all of that, with everything that's gone wrong this season, getting Mourinho wrong, getting rid of him, having Mason come in, everyone's seen how transparent that was. It was a deliberate act. Just getting countless mistakes throughout the season when the fans come in, putting them all in the top stands, not sending the players back out, Talloy mistakes. Obviously, all of it comes back to Levy because he's running the show, so he does get beaten with every stick. How important is this appointment to Levy? And in terms of how because the fans were already going against him, they're already talking about ENIC out, Levy out. It's already a big movement to get rid of him, and so it should be because the Super League was an absolute disgrace. How important is this signing? How important is this appointment, Pete? Come to you, Ben.
It's massive for him. Absolutely massive. I think, like, the wrong appointment. The thing is, he doesn't care, does he? Fans will be back in the stadium next season, whether we like it or not. There'll be people that there'll be protests, but these people don't care. Like, there's protests at all the clubs. None of the owners are going to sell up. They won't. It's a money spinner for them. It's a business. It's not going to change. However, for him, in terms of you saying about his legacy, this is huge. I think, like, the wrong appointment. What I think could hurt him massively is if it ended up being someone like Potter, say from Brighton. Had that been done from the beginning, I wouldn't have been excited, but I wouldn't have been pissed off or disappointed, I guess. However, now you've had the carrot of potentially Conte, like you say, the modern day Mourinho, who is a miracle worker and gets people galvanised, and
potentially Poch as well.
Potentially Poch as well does that sort of thing, and then it ends up being Potter. Then you're pissed off because you had this carrot dangled in front of you. So I think he has to be very, very, very careful in terms of what he does now. Not just for him, but actually in terms of the future of the club. It's massive. It's a massive, massive point. This is a real crossroads. We've been at this crossroads before. When Poch said this squad needs refreshing, what are you going to do? And he did nothing. And he just watched the squad deteriorate and then tried to fix it with some papering over the cracks, bringing in Mourinho. That was a massive crossroads, and it was a gamble, as he said, and it didn't work. So, yeah, I think he has to be really... It has to be spot on, this appointment. It has to be completely right. And the Conte thing, I actually think the Mourinho sacking is probably one of the reasons Conte had a look and was like, whether he likes Mourinho or not, he'd admit he's a serial winner. And the way he works is he needs to be backed, and he knows that Mourinho works the same way. And if he's not getting back in, he's not making a difference. And there was talk about a project, and he doesn't really work in projects, does he? He's in for a few years, makes a difference, and then moves on, kind of thing. So I don't know. I can't fathom who it's going to be. This is the ridiculous thing now. We thought it was going to be Poch, and everyone got excited for that. And then we thought it was going to be Conte. And I looked today, and Poch is the favourite again on Sky Bet. That Sky Bet wound me up, by the way, because they'd have made money off the back of that. Their report stuff, and then all of a sudden it's different. And I don't understand how they can have a betting account when they have Sky Sports News. It feels like a real money earner for them, because they can. I mean, you'd like to think they get found out for stuff like that, but it just feels dodgy to me, because they took out they took off the Harry Kane one, didn't they? After he did his interview with Gary Neville, and I think that's through Sky Bet. Like, Sky Bet was the company that financed it or whatever. They took the Harry Kane next club he was going to join off of the Sky Bet. You can't put a bet on it, sort of thing. And I feel like you should do that with everything, because you're constantly reporting on stuff.
Yeah.
And your Sky sources are telling you things, and people are going to spend their money and then they're wasting it.
No, 100%. That is so dodgy. Let's not.
Yeah, I never thought about that.
Rabbit hole though. Let's try, because I would love to shoot one of you and get right. We'll come away from that, because like you say, that it doesn't make sense. And you'd be clever to do that, and it would make sense to be like, right, you know what, we've seen this reported, change the odds, etc. I think it's very, very likely that is happening. But yeah, with the sort of Conte, the Poch thing, I don't want to talk about as much because I was so excited. It just makes me upset. I feel like he's sad in Paris. We're sad over here. Getting back, but that looks unlikely. PSG are kind of putting their foot down. I'm surprised he's still favourite in my opinion because things don't seem to add up and it doesn't seem to make sense that it would happen. The Conte one, I'm going to ask you, Ollie, like, what's going through Levy's head when he steps to a man who's just left Inter Milan because Inter Milan wouldn't give him more money, because Inter Milan are struggling financially for players, so they weren't going to back him and give him however many more millions to go and buy players. What's going through Levy's head when he steps to that guy and he makes a proposal to him, full well knowing he doesn't have the resources to meet his demands? He doesn't have what Conte wants, what Conte needs, what Conte expects. What is the point of having that conversation? Because I don't understand the thought process.
Me either, mate. I mean, Levy released this whole talk about how he was looking for a club to fit the Tottenham DNA and all this sort of stuff. And the names we were linked to: Pochettino, Ten Hag, Graham Potter, everyone else would fit into that type of mould. And then this Conte got sacked. And I think a lot of us are, he's a very good manager. If he's available, you ask the question. But at what point do you realise that he's not the right manager for your club? Like, I don't understand how they could have gone so far to offer contracts and talks. And, it might all not be true, obviously. But at what point do you not look at what he's done in the past and kind of the way he did it in the past and not think that he's not the right man for us? He just strikes me as just someone who doesn't understand football and someone who hasn't got a plan. I mean, very, very fair. He got very lucky with Pochettino, very lucky, because he wanted Van Gaal massively. We all Van Gaal, and United nicked him, and we ended up with Pochettino off the back of that. And then obviously he went on to be fantastic for us. And albeit our team came together at the perfect time under the right manager at the right scenario, and we didn't win anything. You're not going to get another Pochettino. So you either have to completely reset and take whatever financial hit it's going to take to get it. And you look at Joe Lewis, who doesn't ever put his money into the club. Is this an opportunity for him to do that and really push us on? But that time was 3 seasons ago when we just lost out to Leicester. And we decided to leave White Hart Lane, go and play at Wembley, and then we lost out to Chelsea. Had we not made that move at that time, for example, you never know, he might have won the league, or if we'd invested in the squad at that point. And we never did. And it's a missed opportunity, massively missed opportunity for us. And we're not going to find another Pochettino. You're not going to get that perfect environment where everything comes together. And maybe the thinking under Conte was, okay, we get Conte in, but we're going to sell Kane, and we're going to have 150 mil plus whatever else, get 250 mil. That might be enough to attract him to then give us something to rebuild, and maybe that would have worked. But Conte has obviously gone, no, I want Kane, and I want 100 million or whatever it would cost to rebuild. But then you do look at our squad, and I think I saw lots of people putting projected lineups in, and if we get in like Skriniar or someone like that, a good centre half, two good centre halves, and then in a 3-5-3 formation, we've got a very good team. Reguilon's a brilliant wing back. You've got get another right back in, somebody who can play a wing back, and we've got the Wolves guy, didn't we? Name escapes me.
Doherty.
Doherty. He's a proper wing back, and he might have been really great under Conte, but it strikes me as piss poor planning. And I think Alistair Gold put that picture up of the meme where the guy's walking around and he sees like he's got his girlfriend in his hand and he turns around on the street. It's like we had this list of people that we wanted, and then Conte popped up and he just went, oh, fuck that, this guy's available, go after him, and then just fucked it up really. It's just embarrassing. Embarrassing. The whole thing's embarrassing. There's no plan. Yeah. There's no.
I really struggle with the moral behind some of it as well. Like morally, to go after the Poch.
Yeah.
And tell him we want him again. We want you to come back. I'm sorry I sacked you. I should never have done it. Please come home. Knowing full well that he wants to come back to the club. and then stirring that up for him and making his life difficult in Paris now, because he's not the type of character that's going to come out and say, yeah, I want to leave, I want to go back to Spurs. I think, especially after he kicked off. Do you remember that there was that one interview where he got really arsey about the squad needing rebuilding? Do you remember that press conference? It's the only time I ever really see him lose his cool.
What, Poch?
And and I feel like he learned from that.
He's got a nice house, but he needs furniture interview.
Yeah. That kind of thing. Morally, that's so bad to do that to another human being. To like say to him, to rile himself up and him have that feeling that I could go back to this club that I love and I've got unfinished business with, and then we go, actually, he's become available now, so we're gonna have a little chat with him. We'll leave you on the back burner for a minute. That's morally, it's so shit. And we did it to Saido Berahino. Do you remember? Yeah. We basically put it out there that we wanted to buy him, put in a little shitty offer. They said no, and we went, well, we won't bother then. And the geezer just went downhill from there. Morally, that's so bad. So bad. And you just know that Levy doesn't care about that sort of thing. He's just like such a snivelling little fucking weasel, isn't he? Just got that face. Ugh.
The other problem now is, A, who do we get? And who wants to be that guy now? Who wants to be potentially our fourth choice manager now?
So I'll tell you what, Ollie, that leans in nicely. I wanted to bring up a debate I had on Twitter either yesterday or the day before, and that actually tails into it nicely, in that what I was kind of saying from these first or second tweet was basically that stepping into conversations with Conte when you're 99% sure that's not going to happen, right? I mean, if you're thinking logically, we're looking at that and we're going, it doesn't fit, it's not going to happen. Obviously, he's going to turn us down. Also reading reports of like, we're only going to let him have 4 members of staff arrive. You are looking at one of the best managers in the world. You let him bring his staff. It's absolutely ridiculous. Hasn't he won the league he's been in the last five times out of 7 in his last 7 seasons?
Nice, yeah.
You let that man bring whoever is working in the background with him do that job, because obviously it's clicked and obviously it's doing better than the stuff we've got going on right now. So it was insane. But yeah, the point I was trying to make was, if you're stepping into that conversation, you are doing it at the detriment of the club, because it's 99% certain that it's not going to happen. And the chap I had a bit of a debate with was saying, he said, blah, blah, blah. It's just worth the conversation to speak to a man just like this. And I said, a conversation like that isn't worth having if the expected result is going to cause harm. And the harm I was talking about was the idea of other managers are now going to look at this and think, right, they actually can't bring in the best because the best want too much and they don't have it. They're not actually the top club, a top club, because they haven't got the financial backing for it. And then on the back of that, I think I put the example of, say Kane was on the fence, sitting there thinking, right now, I probably need to leave. Let's say just for argument's sense, he was on the fence. I probably need to leave the club to go and win trophies, but maybe I could stay here and do it. You see this, surely it cements the idea that you need to go. Because if you see that Conte and Poch can't be brought back, especially Conte, by the way, because of the fact that he would expect us to be at the top level, and that's what he demands, but we can't provide that, then it's only a negative impact on the club. And not just the club, but the players who've been in it, the players outside of it, managers outside of it, and also the fans massively, like you're saying, because the fans have had their hopes put up again and dashed.
Embarrassing again, isn't it? All the memes you see now, like, just all of them, it's like Spurs were turned down by a manager because he wanted to win.
Yeah.
I think I saw one, it's like, I support a team that is choosing not to try and win. And it's just like...
Hold a minute, you want to come here and win trophies? Rip the contract up.
No. We don't do that here. We don't try and win. We just get seconds. They're great. Top 4, please. No more though. Don't go too far.
You're losing the plot. You want to keep Kane, one of the best players ever. You want to spend money. You want to be successful. Get out of here. We don't need you.
Yeah.
Wouldn't get out of bed for it. Get him gone. Also, boys, before I ask you the ultimate question, or the ending question is going to be who, if we had to bet now, who are we going to say is going to be Gaffer? Before I ask you that, I read an interesting article. I can't remember who wrote it, but basically the idea being that one of the extra reasons why owners, particularly someone like Levy, is so uninterested or not bothered about what the fans feel and what the fans want and how they sort of shout from the rafters for X, Y, Z. Obviously, you've got to give him, by the way, just to make this not just a pure hatred of Levy, give him credit. In terms of the transfer window before, we all really thought was a good one at the start of the season. He's done a lot to build the stadium, the facilities, etc. He's built the club up. He has made progress, but it's like with a manager, when a manager gets to a certain point, then you need a better one to get into the next spin. It feels like that with Levy, to the point where always said business decisions were great. Business decisions are starting to not look great as well, in terms of Super League, etc. But anyway, this article was basically saying how Levy is not bothered about the feelings of legacy fans, because actually if the Super League is something that they still want to do, which is, I'm 90% certain it will be still chiming in the background, Levy will be interested. Best thing is for legacy fans to dwindle away, and for, as we spoke about before, to consumers to arrive. And consumers obviously make the club more money, etc. So the idea being that, these sort of things where fans get upset and we're kicking off all over, to Levy actually could be wonderful. And it could be this is exactly what he wants to see. Even if it is like people protesting, etc. He wants to see, for example, the video we made where we said, not saying he's going to watch it, but I hope he doesn't watch it. But if he did, for us to be saying we're disenfranchised with the club, we're not as interested, we're not enjoying it, we don't want to watch the games as much anymore. Might be music to his ears, because that's exactly what he needs to kind of push the club into that next era. But anyway, let's go to who. And I rub my hands together, but I don't know why, because I'm not excited. I have no fucking clue who it will be. So if you had to bet right now, I'll give you a little bit of time and do it slowly. Who would the next gaffer be? Difficult one. Have a little think about it. Throw a hat into the ring. And obviously Conte's gone. I personally think Poch is not happening either. Who do we think? Who wants to go first?
I think it's going to be Graham Potter.
Peter, Ollie asked if he could go first.
Did he?
Yeah, he said he'd like to go first.
Oh yeah, but then he's just being rude. I gave him his moment in the sun earlier, and he just had unbelievable.
Yeah, go on.
I think. No, go on, Ollie. You go first.
Mate,
even though I've already been first.
Too late. You said Graham Potter, so.
Can't tell us why you think it would be.
Yeah. You're going to interrupt me. At least have a reason to.
My reason was because it's my turn to talk. I think it's Graham Potter because he's a yes man for Levy. I think he's an easy appointment. I don't think it will cost too much money to get him out of his contract at Brighton. And he does have Brighton playing attractive football, despite the fact that they still struggle to stay in the league. They do play a good brand of football. And Levy will be thinking, if he can do that with our better squad of players, who knows? But I don't think that'll be. I hope if he gets appointed, I'll back him and whatnot. But I don't think it's a great appointment, especially having the carrot, like we said, of Conte and Poch dangled in front of you, and even Ten Hag got linked quite heavily. So yeah, I think it'll be him.
I think, by the way, Pete, you made a great point earlier. When you said about, you made a great point, and we'll leave it at that. You made a great point earlier when you said about Potter would have been a fine appointment, or okay appointment, let's say. Like if he'd got appointed before any of this madness, any of the excitement for Conte or Pochettino, I would have convinced myself by the start of next season, you know what? He could have had a good pre-season. He does play attractive football, like you say. He is a good coach. He looks like a coach. He could come good with a better squad, like the points you just made a little bit there. But because we've had the carrot of Conte and Pochettino dangled in front of our faces, it's just a disappointment. It's just a disappointment. And that is what it will be if he is brought in. I think Potter's a likely shout. Ollie, who are you going to go for?
Well, I mean, just talking about Levy and stuff, there's also talk that we're getting this director of football in from Juventus, aren't we?
Yeah, parity.
Part of me wonders if he actually could sort something out with Conte in terms of an issue that might have been. He could, if anything was sorted out, it'd possibly him, right? Because I know they might. I did read them up. They did fall out a little bit at some point, but they started the sort of the Juve revolution over there, and that's kind of what we need really. But if I had to bet on somebody, the last person I would actually want now would be Ten Hag. He's the last person I'm remotely interested in. So he's probably the one I'd be like, I'd definitely take him. I think we are enough of a step up for him to be worth his while. And apparently we're not a big club in terms of getting Conte. So, you know, he like Pochettino, he had to prove himself at a better club than where he's at. And I think we are at a better club in terms of, obviously Ajax are a huge club in terms of like history and stuff like that. And it's done amazing things. But, you know, we are a bigger club in terms of like financial and stuff like that. So, you know, possibly it's a step up for him in that sense to prove himself in another country.
Yeah. I mean, with Ajax, the only thing you have to look at, the only thing you have to look at of Ajax is when players come, obviously their youth system is unbelievable. They come through and they go, and that's how it is now. Whereas in years gone by, they'd have stayed at Ajax because, like you say, they're a real powerhouse in Europe. So, and
the problem with Ajax managers, you saw Frank de Boer, wasn't it, when he left there and that winning machine he had there. Are Ajax managers good, or are Ajax amazing in what they do in terms of they develop players? And the team that he had was ridiculous, wasn't it? That De Jong, De Ligt, all those boys just doing absolute bits. But he also did turn it around. I mean, he was under Pep Guardiola at Bayern Munich. He was on the B team at Bayern. He's developed a lot of players, so he can know players like Højbjerg and stuff like that. So to me, again, without all of this shit, I would have been delighted with Ten Hag, and I would have got on board massively with Potter as well. But you know, we've had Conte dangled, Poch dangled as well, and they both look solid. Like guys like Ali Golden that were tweeting about, because he was very anti Conte for a long time, and he came out saying actually the talks are that we're properly going for this and actually it's going to happen. And then a day later, he was like, I've got no idea what's happened, but it's not happening. So it makes you wonder something came up. But, you know, he could still turn around. You never know. We could release it tomorrow and he gets appointed tomorrow. But how to pick someone, I'll probably go Ten Hag.
Yeah, I was really for Ten Hag before as well. But then I got massively put off him by, there's a chap in my office. He's actually, I think he's half Irish, half Dutch. But he spent a lot of his life in Holland, and he was telling me how Ajax fans. Now I think Ali Gold did this as well. But Killian sort of doubled it. They're not bothered about Ten Hag in the slightest. Ajax fans, like they're not bothered. Apparently, if he leaves, they think he's a bit of a weirdo. Like the general consensus, and I had a little look online, and it looks pretty true. Is they're not bothered about him at all. They think it's the club, not his coaching. Ten Hag or not, Ajax is Ajax, and they just don't think he's that good. He just lives off what the club builds, and all the coaching staff is always the same and they do the job.
I mean, as a club, Ajax's philosophy goes from bottom to top. And there's not many clubs that you can say do that in the world of football. Ajax, Barcelona. Does anybody else have a style that they coach from bottom to top, from like your under 8 right the way through to the top? Probably
That's
not.
Been there for donkeys.
Bilbao, they're like that, aren't they, in Spain?
Well, I would only say Ajax and Barca, probably only 2. And even Barcelona, that came from Cruyff going to Barca. So he almost took the Ajax philosophy to Barcelona as well. So
my manager, who do I think? If I was betting, and I would hate to, right now I'd probably put my money on. It probably would have been one of those. It probably would be Potter, but I want to say a different one because you throw him in. So I'll go for the bloke who just quit from Lille.
Gaultier.
I don't think it will be him, but yeah, I'll say Gaultier. Don't know enough about him to say that.
Just the name you've heard.
Well, yeah, he did just win the league with Lille. He has quit. He's actually available. So it seems like someone that, you know, Levy might go for because of saving a bit of money more than anything. So that's who I'd throw my bet on right now. But yeah, that's what we've got, boys. So we've got a choice between what we think, either Potter, Ten Hag, or Gaultier. I think it most likely be Potter. I think Ten Hag is not.
He's on like a 6-year contract, Potter, as well. So it costs a lot of money to get out of Brighton.
Has he actually? Well, that coincides.
Disgusting contract, I believe.
Because but this is it. Like Ali Gold, or everyone was reporting that Spurs pretty much knew who their man was going to be of 2 people. It was definitely going to cost them money because whoever those guys were, they were in contract and they were at clubs, in long contracts. Kind of leaned towards like you said, they put out there a profile that basically matched Poch, but was looking to be the new Poch or whatever. Potter kind of fit it a little bit. Pochettino didn't because of the length of his contract. They went for him. Then they appeared, suddenly went for Conte. It's like you said, it just stinks of no plan, no idea what we're doing, hoping for the best of luck. And then you still got people on Twitter saying like, why is everyone getting so worked up? Calm down. It's all going to be fine. There's loads of managers out there. There's not. It's just not.
It's really not
likely, and it doesn't look.
It's been such a weird manager merry-go-round, isn't it? Like
even like Zidane's available.
Yeah, well, Zidane, nah. He don't. For me, it's like what you're saying about Ten Hag. He just inherited a decent bunch of players at Madrid and managed to win a couple of Champions Leagues. In terms of a coach,
what 4, Pete? Well, 3 on the bounce, didn't he?
Yeah, exactly. 3 in a row. You can't underplay that.
Do you think? I don't know. I just don't. I don't feel like tactically he's got anything.
It will go down in history. You won 3 Champions Leagues in a row. Like that.
I don't know. Maybe I'm doing him a disservice, but I've never seen him. From what I've seen of him, I don't know. He just doesn't give off that energy of a man who's tactically got a bit.
Oh, I don't know. He's also a legend of the game at the very.
This was not talking about his ability as a footballer, Jerry. He was class. Don't get me wrong, but I don't know.
But it's gravitas. I think you walk in as a Dan into a football club, and I know like some of these modern footballers are complete muppets who don't understand like what the game was or what the game even is, to be honest. But he walks in, and surely everyone's excited, and you'd think he'd be able to attract players just by being Zidane.
Yeah. Even
if he wasn't the greatest tactical mastermind in the world, surely you could pull players in and be like, do you know what? I want to go and work under him. But boys, I'm going to ask you each one question. Oh, actually, let's throw it out to the people. It's possible that Kane's about to leave. We can't be called, are you not entertained anymore? Unless you want to say no every single week. Because that's not who we are anymore. So it's like that's going to change. We're also like to be talking about more the Premier League, not just Spurs, but we'll see. We'll keep everyone in the loop. Anyone who's interested, anyone's happy enough to listen to us. But boys, I want to ask you for possibly the last time. Ollie, are you or are you not entertained?
No.
No. And you're not. And you're very honest to say so. Peter, are you or are you not entertained right now?
I am not.
I'm also not entertained. I think the whole Spurs fan base are not entertained right now. The only thing we are entertaining is the possibility that he might leave. But cheers, boys. Appreciate your time. Thanks, everyone, for listening. And I'll see you soon. Here's hoping. Enjoy the Euros. Up the England.
Come on, England.